So once again, I want to welcome everybody to episode 101 of Live from My Drum Room. And it's a pleasure to see you all watching today. And without any further ado, I'm going to welcome my guest, Joshua Simonds, Executive Director at the Percussive Arts Society, also known as, say it, Joshua, PAS.
PAS. Well,
PAS.
it's known as PAS. People call it PASIC, even
Yes.
though it's PAS.
Right.
But it's
Right.
PAS.
Right. That's right. It's
People are like, oh, you run PASIC. Yeah,
well, it's
but I run
part of it.
PAS. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is part of it. It's an
It is
important
part
part.
of it. Yeah.
Yes. But
Well,
known as
maybe
PAS, yes.
you can
But yeah,
clarify that for people right now and explain the
sure.
difference
Sure.
between PASIC and PAS. I
Sure. Well,
know.
thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And
It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
yeah, so PAS, the Percussive Arts Society, the International or Society of Drummers and Percussionists, the large organization. PASIC, our convention, right? PASIC just stands for Percussive Arts Society's International Convention. PASIC. So it's a program. It's something we do. It's not who we are. It's one thing we do. It's a great 4 days every year, but we're a 365 organization. We have the programs and obviously all of our programs and scholarships and the research we do and the publications. But PASIC is a huge part, and a lot of people might just utilize PAS for PASIC, and that's great because it is such an important program of PAS. And of course, I think what we're going to talk a lot about today is we're only just over
Yeah.
2 weeks until the start. So yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. And thank you again for being here just 2 weeks before. And I can imagine, or maybe not, maybe it's to the point now where you've really got it all sorted out, but I appreciate you doing this so close because
Sure.
I have to think
Yeah.
there's still, a few things to to
There,
work out.
yeah, no, 100%. We'll be working right up until the last moment every year, and it's not for lack of, we're behind. It's just there are certain things that you just really can't do for a month out, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, a day on site, and so we feel like we're actually right back to where we need to be right now. We feel even a little bit better than last year. Obviously, last year having PASIC right in the middle of a in spikes in the pandemic. I won't say the pandemic
Mhm.
is over because I don't, it's not. But where we were as a world at that point. So doing it with the vaccine mandate with masks added a whole new layer, and then not doing it in 2020, only doing virtual. So it's that, okay, we're back to that 2018, 2019 type of planning and thinking back, and having it be so different last few years. We're have taken some of those oddities out of it, and now we're like, okay, well, I feel like we're pretty comfortable and where we're at, and numbers are
Yeah.
really really good, and so yeah, we're really excited.
That's great. Me too. I'm excited. I'm my first time attending in quite a few years, and I'm excited to see some of my friends, which we'll talk about, doing clinics and being recipients of some big awards. So it's great, and I'm so happy for you because I know how hard it is for you to do what you do, and then adding, as you say, those challenges on top. I can't even imagine what it was like. So I'm glad you
Yeah,
you
it
came
was.
through.
We did.
Yeah.
The organization is really, we were very fortunate. I'm sure that some of the staff has this up right now watching, and they're an amazing staff working nonstop right now. We were a team. It's a team effort. Obviously the staff and board, but also our partners, our industry partners, our funders. We all kind of came together, and we were very fortunate that once the world started to come out of it, we were able to kind of hit the ground running again. We didn't lay anyone off during the pandemic. We cut things back. We did this and that, but we kept the engines running so that when we could start again, boom, right back again.
Great.
We had the museum. We closed that for a year, but we kept people working in the collections in the back, and then we opened that up again in 21. So yeah, it's been a really interesting 2.5 years, but it's a good team, and we work really well together. And I think that's a lot of reasons why we see so many good programs in PASIC being where we're at right now.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, you have a great infrastructure. It looks like it's
Mhm.
obvious. And we were talking off camera, Joshua. So you started, was it 2013 when you came in as executive?
No, so I came in at 16.
16. Okay. All right.
2006. Yeah, I came in 2016 as executive director. Prior to that, I lived in Chicago for since 2003, essentially, where I ran the Chicago Youth Symphony in different positions there. Ultimately, I was the executive director, and then came over to and then moved to Indianapolis when I was fortunate to get the job. I was like, okay, I want to be on site, be a
Yeah.
member of the community in Indianapolis, because we are such a, having the museum and having our organization in Indy. I think it was important to be a member of this community here, because, like I said, you know, we're we're part of the fabric of the arts community here, and so being part of
Yes.
that was really important to me to do that. And I
That's
think it
great.
helps. It help. I think it helps the organization out immensely as well. There's a lot of meetings with people and getting to know different organizations and collaborations and you name it, musicians. So there it really is. It really is and it's a great place.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to
Yeah.
say, no, that all makes sense. And yeah, I remember when you came on board, I just wasn't sure of the year. And as we said off
Yeah.
camera, I'd kind of left the industry at that point. So unfortunately, I didn't have the pleasure of working with you, and we've worked together since with some other things, and it's been a pleasure, and I've just enjoyed it. You're aside from being very professional and very capable, you're funny. You're like we hung out together at the Chicago Drum
A
Show. You
little bit.
bought me
Yeah.
a beer, and I thought, well, this guy's cool, man. I wish we got to work
Yeah.
together.
I'm all,
So
I'm all right. I'm all right. I appreciate that. I think I'm a little funny at times, but yeah, I mean, I think you have to be, in this industry, you got to be professional. You got to know who you're talking to. And yeah, I
yeah,
agree. But the industry has been very supportive of, yourself and your colleagues. And, from whether it was from, Zildjian and Vic or even all the other companies, have been so kind and have really good relationships with everyone. As the executive director of PAS, I like to say that I'm brand agnostic. It's
yeah,
I really it's not about me. It's about the organization. Support Percussive Arts Society, and you'll have my support as well. So, but no,
great.
everyone, the industry as a whole, the whole drum percussion industry is a really close, as very close
Yeah,
group of people. Doesn't matter who you work for. Yeah, everyone really wants to see drums percussion grow, and that's what we're trying to do.
that's great. That's great. And again, I'll repeat what I said off the air, which is that you've really done a great job. Not just in the social media side of it, but certainly in that area. Just I think just giving a face to an organization that probably for a lot of people for a long time really didn't see that face. They knew of it, but I think you've really helped make everybody more aware of it, and it's great to see that
Thank you.
omnipresent, yeah, omnipresence out there. Yeah, that's
Appreciate it.
great. So I a couple of things I wanted to ask you, and I just want you to talk as much as you'd like to talk about PASIC this year in the organization. But one of the things that I kind of wonder about is, so you've got the show coming up, the convention in 2 weeks. How soon after that ends do you start thinking about 2023? And I have a feeling it's like you probably take that Sunday off, I hope. And you're thinking about it Monday morning. I mean, is it kind of like that? Is it
Yeah, we take Sunday and Monday off.
Sunday and Monday off?
Yeah. Well, we don't take Sunday off. Sunday's a load back in day.
Oh, right, right, right.
So
Yes.
there's that. That my iPad does that. It gives the automatic. I gave myself a thumbs up.
Well, you deserve a thumbs up. I love it. I thought I did that or someone did that.
No, I was
That's
like, I'm
outstanding.
applauding myself. That's great. Yeah, I'm doing a great
Uh,
job. Uh, we take Monday off. We are. I would be lying if I said we weren't already working on some aspects of 2023.
yeah, yeah,
We're constantly thinking about, okay, what did we do? What do we need to change for this coming year? Because we launched PASIC applications the week after Thanksgiving.
hmm,
So end of November, beginning December, we launched PASIC applications, and those run through the middle of January.
Right.
Then we close applications in the middle of January. So that's that first whole part. It's getting the artist apps up, start thinking about all that. So right now we're thinking, okay, is there anything in the application process that needs to change? And then there's a lot of back end technical stuff that myself and a few of my colleagues work with from that aspect, and the committee chairs. Okay, is there different information we want? Are we making it too difficult to apply? How do we make sure that anyone can really apply? We don't want the application process to be a barrier. So that's been a big part, right? That accessibility and inclusion part. We don't want someone to think about, oh, I can't do this, it's going to take forever. Okay, well, why not? So we're always rethinking those processes. But then it's officially, then you get it launched. But when you get it launched, you also got to have obviously the right type of, you got to have the right graphics up already. You got to have the, make sure all the links and everything kind of works. So we do take a little time off, but then we get right back into it. And obviously it's ebbs and flows about, what part of the year is busy for what aspect of PASIC. Right now we're in the on-site part of it, everything that happens kind of on site. We're always dealing with artists. We deal with artists from December through on site because we're dealing with prospective artists and then the constant communication. But that's a great thing that we're constantly in contact with artists, potential artists, all the way through. So yeah, but it really is a 52-week program that at some point someone on staff is dealing with something that has to do with PASIC.
Yeah. I would think so. And this is, I was just going to say from my own experience, producing a couple of like big events that I did when I worked for Zildjian, and they were like years in the making. It would be like an event that we held every 5 years. And at the end of that event, we'd start thinking about the next one, and it would be, 2 to 3 years of pretty solid. So where you do this every year, you
have to,
man.
and especially some of those. What I did a little differently when I came in 2016, but maybe I've managed the evening concerts a little differently. It definitely used to be more, some of the artists who are playing or parts of the things, and I've definitely taken that aside. Try to expand it, do it really independently of industry. We know industry gets so much already with buying booths and their artist support, whatever. And so we tried to kind of be like, what can we do with that evening concert aspect? So we're really thinking. But with the way that touring are, we have to talk to people a year or two out. Hey, what are you guys doing in November 24? Is there a possibility we could get so-and-so? In the last few years, we've had, Michelle Camillo, and we've had, Victor Wooten Group. And when I first, we did a special thing with Blue Man Group, when one of my first years there. And so we're constantly always thinking different types of shows or who's coming over internationally. So that really does take more than 6 months to play, so we're really trying to get some of those really worked out way in advance. This year we did a really good job of it. Now the pandemic helped with some of that because we had 2 years worth of evening concerts to get in. But we're already thinking about 23 and 24 evening concert artists that would be really great for a show like PASIC.
That's great. Yeah, and that makes perfect sense, Joshua, because like you say, that unlike a clinician, that's a you're dealing probably with booking agents and management, and those things sometimes can happen, as you say, organically. They have an opening 6 months before you find out and you can book them. But I have to think it's much longer than that. By the way, lots of great folks watching. Sherry Rubens, one of this year's recipients, is watching. It says,
is Sherry on? Hi, Sherry.
She says hi. Yep. And
Sherry's doing a great job down in San Antonio with that new, that's my orchestra life, doing a lot of stuff with the new Philharmonic down there. So keeping music alive in many different ways. So great job, Sherry. And congratulations on her award. Yes, she's done amazing work for PAS.
Yeah, she's been a longtime supporter. I know. And I think it's your wife's, Ruth.
No, that's a sister.
That's your sister. Great job, sister. Joshua. Okay.
Oh, thanks, Ruthie. Yes, no, that's she's a educator, a history teacher in California. So
all right. Okay.
Jumping on especially for this. Yes.
Thanks for watching, Ruth. We appreciate it. And Sherry and everybody. So let's talk a little bit about your background as a player, excuse me, as a percussionist.
Yeah. So I do have I do have a degree in percussion from Long Beach State. in California, where I primarily studied symphonic percussion. So I studied, my primary teacher was a gentleman named Dr. Michael Carney, who unfortunately passed away about a decade ago, but was a huge influence in my life, and many actually drummers, percussionists in our community. But then while I was also there, I was fortunate to get to study with Rainer Carroll, who was the principal percussionist of the LA Philharmonic for many years until his retirement. I primarily did orchestral percussion ensemble. Timpani was kind of my main thing. But at the same time, I was also very interested in other aspects of music and the administrative side. So when I was actually at Long Beach State, I called up the Long Beach Symphony one day and I said, "Hey, do you want an intern?" And they said, "Yeah, come on in." And so I went down to the Long Beach Symphony, and no idea, right, what we'll get into. And we kind of talked to some of the different managers there, and they're like, "Okay, well, we're going to put you, we're going to have you work with our director of development, Lisa Beery, who's another mentor of mine for many years." And I said, "Great." And they're like, "You have any questions?" I said, "Yeah, what's development?" I'm like, "What?" For those who know, it's fundraising, right? And then that kind of started this path down this road of nonprofit arts management. And from there, I worked multiple years with the Long Beach Symphony. I had the opportunity to really do everything on that side, operations. Joanne Paletta was the conductor when I was there, who was an amazing conductor. And got a lot of time with her. And she really also said, we need really good managers in the nonprofit world, in the arts world. So I got a master's degree in nonprofit arts management from American University in Washington, D.C. And then from there worked in the orchestral world, for 13, 14 years. But right. I'm a drummer, I'm a percussionist, right? It's always been my one love and real passion. And so when this job opened up, one of my really good friends, Dave Gerhardt, said, "Hey," who's always been very involved in PAS, and I wasn't involved in PAS for a long time, but was like, "Hey,"
watching, by the way, yeah.
Oh, is Dave watching? Yeah. Dave, owe it to Dave who let me know this job was open, and was like, "Yeah, the PAS is looking for executive director," and I was like, "PAS?" I'm like, I haven't been involved in PAS forever. Like, they're not going to want to talk to someone like me. But he's like, "Just send your stuff in." So sent my stuff in, and that just started a conversation with the board at the time. And that's really what it was. It was like, "Hey, listen, here, what are you looking for? Because here's what I can offer." And it was pretty soon, very fast. They realized, okay, this is an amazing organization, and they just need the next thing, right? Yeah, we've done so much great things up until then. My predecessors have done a great job, PASIC, all the programs, but now we just need something else. And I've kind of taken those reins and gone. So I'm very thankful that they've given me the opportunity to kind of take the reins at PAS and be that person to help with the board and the staff and board of advisors and Israel, and just kind of be that person to kind of bring everyone together. And I think we're doing a good job. But I love my job. Great. I love, it's like, there's so many jobs. When I talk to people, there's so many amazing jobs in the music world, and performance isn't for everybody. And education isn't for everyone, right? When I went to school, it was like, you want to be a performance major or education major? It was like, those are the only two jobs you can have, right? Yeah. And we know that's not true. We know that's not true. And but if you're passionate about music or drums, percussion, whatever, there are so many jobs out there. You just got to be creative and find your niche, but you can make a great living and a life doing what you want to do.
Well, you can tell you love your job, and it's such a great fit for you. It's obvious, and it's win-win for everybody. You love what you do, and you're bringing like this energy, to a great organization that it's not an easy time for anybody out there in terms of organizations, as you said earlier. The fundraising and always, with all that in the back of your mind all the time. So that's you can bring that energy. It's great. If I can jump backwards for 1 second, Joshua, when you were talking about the application process,
yes.
And I used to submit applications on behalf of artists, and has it pretty much the same? I mean, it's the same, like as you said, anyone can apply. So
you don't have to be a member of PAS to apply. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be a member. Now we hope that everyone will be a member, but you don't have to be a member to apply. So yes, individual artists can apply. You can work with someone to apply, like you said, when you were there, sometimes artists reps will work with them, on occasion to do that for them. We know how busy they are. And I think we become a little more flexible in certain areas because we do know some musicians aren't aware of their schedules in January of what they're going to do in November,
Right.
whether it's a drum set artist or the orchestral artist whose season isn't announced until March. They don't know if they're going to be playing, if they can get cover for Mozart, or if they're going to be playing, a piece that has 12 percussionists on it. So we do have to be a little more flexible with that in some ways, but we still do try to get everyone to get an application in that we can then have in the system and look at. And so if you think that you want to have an opportunity, if you think you want to, try and apply, you should. The worst day for us is the day that we have to send out actually the no's. It's not something that we enjoy doing. Yeah. We have about 80 or 90 maybe sessions, but we get 600 applications.
Okay, my next question. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you can have a great application, just and that's 600 applications, and that's 80 or 90 artists. But then within each genre, it's not that many. This isn't a drum set show, right? It's not a marching show. PAS is everything, right? Everything from interactive drumming to health and wellness to drum set, symphonic, marching, scholarly research, music technology, you name it, new music. So there might be 5, 6, or 7 here, or 3 here, whatever. Drum set, we do have 16. And we bump that up because we do know there is a very large, in addition to PAS members, there's a very large hobbyist. There are hobbyists out there who love to come to PASIC to watch drum set. If you took out the drum fest part of PASIC, it would still be the largest drum set show in North America. No other drum set show has that many drum set artists in it from itself, right? So you can come to a PASIC, see all the drum set, but also while you're there, see the evening concerts, go check out a world percussion thing, go, do something different. Which is actually what a friend of ours, and I don't use the word friend lightly, like Steve Smith, one of the who was
he's
one of
no
the first,
friend of mine, Joshua. He's no friend of mine. No,
terrible
sir.
person, right? But he was very like, don't turn this into a drum set. Don't turn this into a drum set. Convention. The great thing about it is you can go and explore so many different things. So in 2017, when he came and played, he was very, about that. And that's an important part that, we're not just one thing, where we really do everything. So that's important. But yes, but the application process, and then it's vetted by your peers. And that's the other thing. I'm not deciding.
Yeah.
The board of directors is deciding, right? It's vetted by your peers. There's that. And so what happens is each committee will vet all the applications within their genre, and then it gets passed on to the board and myself, and we look at things, but we look at things that are also you wouldn't necessarily expect. Someone puts in an amazing application, and I look at the title or what it's about, and I say, well, we just had that clinic last year, right? And so we have to also think about the diversity of our, who's performing, what the topics are on, how often they come around, because we don't want to be like, oh, they're only talking about rudiments around this, or only doing that. We have to think about all those, and you may not be aware of it. So we try to also give some feedback. Hey, listen, great, session, apply again, but we just had so and so and so do such a similar thing, and we need to try to expand the offerings because we want people to come back year after year and get new information. So there's a lot that I think people don't sometimes realize of why they may not be accepted. When you were talking about the whole like working on something, we're trying to do a better job of that information so people can get some more comments as opposed to just a no. But it's, hey, it's no, but because of these reasons. I think the more communication we can give, the more people will feel better about it, as opposed to just no, you didn't get in. And that takes time. It takes from a lot of standpoints. Okay, here are the notes, and here's why a lot of volunteers do this. But that's what we're striving for.
Yeah, that's great information. I don't know that I've ever heard anyone from PAS explain it that clearly, and that, and I think people watching this should know that when you submit an application, you're expected to give a topic, give a synopsis of what the session's going to be, um, because it's an educational event that
Yes.
you're bringing people in there, and it's about education. It's not just about drum solos, and I think that's great information for people to understand that exact point. That if you have masterclass or session A this year, and someone submits an application that's pretty close for next year, then what's the point, really, as you say?
What's the
So
point? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So can I ask, Joshua, do you ever
Yeah.
have situations where, just purely because of the logistics of having, as you say, 90 slots and 600 applications, do you ever have a situation where you carry over an application from, it's almost like you look at an application and go, okay, well, we've got this covered this year, but this is going to be at the top of the list for next year, or is it a clean slate in a new year,
Um,
or both? Maybe, I don't know.
yeah, but I would say both. Um, we dealt a lot with that during the pandemic. We had
Yeah,
remember March 2020, we already had pretty much a whole grouping of people that we were going to invite to PASIC. And we
yeah,
really didn't, we canceled PASIC, sorry, we moved PASIC from a in-person to a virtual setting. We did not cancel PASIC
right.
in 2020, but we had already let artists know that they were going to be on 2020. So we did move a lot from 20 to 2021, and then even still from 2021 to 2022, who couldn't do for 2020. I would but prior to that, and even this year, I would say yes, but we still would make them reapply.
I see. Yeah,
But we can go into it saying, hey, this is a really great application, and yes, it needs to be vetted again. And it's not going to be this year. So we still, I don't know if we've ever just been like, boom, you can. If they've gone through that process, they were accepted, they come back to us and say, hey, there's no way I can make this year, depending on it, we might say, well, let's put them in for next year. We had that actually this year with the drum set artist. JJ Johnson
mm-hmm.
was accepted to come. Great application, whatever. We scheduled it. His touring schedule, something happened. Listen, that happens. You come to PASIC. You're not coming to PASIC because you're making a lot of money, or your industry is helping you out, or anything. You're coming to PASIC because you want to be there. It's educational. But if something comes up, you got to go. We were unable to find the right thing, so we actually said, okay, listen, JJ, we announced it. We want you to come, but why don't we just have you come over in? Let's just set aside, make sure you can come in 2023, because he's already been selected by his peers, and it's an unfortunate situation. So we'll do something like that.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
More times than not. And then we'll try to go find. We try to then find someone who can obviously fill that spot.
Yeah. And I think, I think it's a testament to how prestigious it is to be at PASIC, that in my recollection, that doesn't happen a lot, right? I mean, even though a guy like JJ, as you say, he's a big name touring guy, but I know from when I was doing it, working with guys like Steve Smith, as you said, they would do whatever they could to honor that obligation. If they had committed to doing PASIC in January and then something comes along in the middle of the summer, Steve Gadd, all these guys would try to work it out to be there, even if it meant flying in and flying right out again.
Flying out. Yeah. And most do, and sometimes the drummer doesn't have a choice, and that's totally fine. But that's where we also want to be flexible. We don't want to be the node, you have to be, because we do know that so many of them do give up some of their time, for this. A lot of people give back when they come to perform at PASIC. I mean, that's just the reality. That's the reality of it. So we try to be as flexible as we can, but we also try to keep a certain level of, what our procedures are and how we do that, because it's still, like you said, is an education show. Some artists are going to show off and play to tracks and do all that stuff. The majority actually really enjoy doing a show like this because they had opportunity to really dive into the specifics about something, not just 50 minutes of playing to tracks.
Yeah.
And a lot of the artists, are amazing educators. They like to talk about their craft, and they like to be able to really get in depth and talk to the people who are really interested in that. So from everyone that I've talked to so far, they are really looking forward to that and practice for this. Even the greatest drum set clinicians out there are practicing what they want to say, what they're going to do, how they're going to explain what they're doing, and so everyone takes it really seriously.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal. I mean, it's as big as you get when it comes to these types of events, as you say, and I think too, it's worth mentioning to people watching that, again, in my recollection and in my experience, a lot of these big name drummers that would typically command a higher fee or higher compensation one way or another would always be willing to come to PASIC, because if it was the sponsors covering it, and I'd say, well, I'm going to put you up at a hotel for a couple of nights, few nights, and it's a great hang, and we'll have some great dinners. So can you do it for a little less than what we'd pay you to do a clinic somewhere at a music store? Knowing, right, as you say, it's an educational event. It's not a commercial event. It's to educate. Kids are coming there, saving up their hard-earned money to buy a pass to come to it, and so I think everybody really kind of shares in that whole philosophy, of trying to.
Yeah, and today you hear about drum set players who are like, I came as a kid, and now I'm playing on stage. Right? We've got to that point in our history where some of these really amazing artists, no matter what instrument they're playing on, were just attendees at one point, and they're now seeing, wow, I remember seeing so and so on stage, and now I'm on stage, and we're seeing that. So they understand that, kind of that passing that down to the next generation of drummers and percussionists.
Yeah. My first PASIC was 1985 in Los Angeles. I just moved out there. Yeah. At the Sheraton Universal City. I remember I was working for Simonds Drums, and it was unbelievable. I knew what it was. I knew of it, but I'd never been able to get to when I was just a young buck. And I was hooked from that point on. It was like, oh my gosh, all these, and plus it was LA, so you had all these drummers that were just there to hang out and see it. Yeah, Tony Williams did a clinic, and like Jim Keltner and Jeff Beccaro and Vinny Colaiuta are there watching. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, my first was 97, maybe if Dave is still on. I think that was in Anaheim. I was in college.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was mine first. And I still have gear that I bought from that, actually,
that's great.
I remember walking up to, at that time, this little table with Neil Grover standing behind it. And I was like, I need a tambourine and triangle for all my symphonic classes. And I'm like, okay, here's what you need. And I'm like, oh, is that you? That's great. That's the way it was. You had Vic, and you had Remo, and you had Neil, and you had Mike Balter. You had these guys with their names on the product right there.
How about that?
And we're fortunate we still have some of them here. Yeah. And that's such the great thing about our society, our community. Is that, so you go into the expo hall and you get to see the artists, you get to see the makers and manufacturers, and now there's so many more amazing products out there. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that too. So as far as like exhibitors or the expo side of it, mm-hmm. is it pretty much like how it was before in terms of everybody's come back and you'll have a good strong great.
Definitely. And we have, for those who haven't been there, we actually have literally two sides, air wall down the middle. So we have more of a low, people say a quiet and a loud side. It's not a quiet and a loud side. I would say a lower volume and a higher volume side. But on the lower volume side, that's where you have a lot of the publications. Are there publishers? Sorry, you have smaller instruments, maybe some marimba, drum pads, things like that. And then obviously on the larger side, that's where you're going to have your Zildjians, Sabians, Yamahas, DWs,
You can say it, Joshua. The noise makers.
The noise makers. I'm sorry I didn't mention every single one. You got to go to PASIC.org, look at the map. You can see every amazing organization is there. Even our
Yeah.
social media, we're calling out the last few days, even today, all of the brands that are going to be there. And yeah, John, the majority, listen, every company has to make their own decision why they will or won't come to PASIC or any convention, conference for that matter. But and
Right.
yes, we understand. It's an expensive thing. It's financial. But so we are thankful for those that do come and support the community, and we hope that those that aren't can, there's always an open door, always welcome back.
Great. Yep. That's right. Only way you can look at that situation. And, people have different reasons and philosophies and all that. So,
Exactly.
that's fantastic. And by the way, I got my hotel reconfirmation today, just by coincidence. Maybe they all got sent out today, but I thought that was quite, appropriate or apropos that I would be speaking with you today.
People can find you at the lobby bar in the Westin during PASIC. Is that correct? Yeah.
I'll be available for buying drinks for me.
Fantastic. Yes, that's great. Good.
I was trying to say that in a way that, yes, I'll be available for free drinks. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
No,
come pitch your podcast ideas to John and
yeah. Oh no, don't say that. Oh, maybe I'll take my camera and I'll get some hidden video of people.
There you go.
I wanted to talk about also, the time does go by quick, and I won't keep you too late today, but
it's all right.
I did want to talk about some of the award recipients this year, the Hall of Fame inductees. Peter Erskine, I know, is one. Nancy Zeltzman. Can you maybe mention I should have written them down, and I apologize.
It's okay. So we have 5 Hall of Fame winners this year. You mentioned Nancy Zeltzman, incredible marimba player. Peter Erskine, I know, is a good friend of yours. We have Michael Udow, world-renowned composer, artist, teacher. And then posthumously, we have 2 people going in. Roland Koloff, who was the principal timpanist for the New York Philharmonic for many, many years, and has a ton of amazing students all around the country now. And Bernard Wilma, world percussion extraordinaire. So the 5 of them are being inducted to our Hall of Fame. We have our Lifetime Achievement Award in Education, Doug Howard, Dane Reichson, and Anthony Robinson. We have Sherry, we mentioned earlier, who is our Service Award winner, someone who has just a lifetime of service to the organization. PAS Supporter Award, Dom Famularo, for just Dom, as a supporter, whether it's just his being vocal, but Dom over the years has actually helped us start 2 different scholarships in different people's names. So Dom's been a great supporter. I think we're talking industry. Chris Hart from Remo.
Yeah, I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, an award that you've won, the industry award. So those are our award winners, and then we always award a chapter for great work. And this year, our chapter who won was from Oregon. We have some officers up in Oregon who are just doing really great new things, trying to get that community back up and together again. So that'll be fun, and we'll all get together on Thursday at our banquet to cheers everyone and congratulate everyone there. So congratulate. And the thing about our award winners, whether it's Hall of Fame or Lifetime Achievement, something else people should know: any PAS member can nominate anyone for our Lifetime Achievement in Education Award and our Hall of Fame. So all that's information is on our website, pas.org. And people are like, well, how, so-and-so should be into the Hall of Fame before. Well, I don't disagree, but you've never nominated them. So if you think there is someone worthy out there, put an application together for them. It's pretty much recommendation letters, and submit it, and then that goes to the proper channels. So, but we always have great, a historic Hall of Fame of percussionists, drummers and percussionists. So congratulations to all of them.
Congratulations to everyone, and excited to see that. And I was excited to hear about Chris Hart, my old friend, and
Yeah.
Sherry and all those recipients. Peter, of course, very excited about that. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
um, and some of the drum set, I'm anxious to see many clinics and sessions, but I know you've got some big drum set guys. Your warm up act, in fact, Dave Weckel, who was
Yeah. I
on with me
appreciate
last.
Dave. I do. I appreciate Dave. Yeah. Warming up this for me. No, but yeah, Dave is Dave was one of our judges for. It was kind of karma, actually. I'll tell you why it was karma, because I got an email like 2 weeks ago from Jason McGurr, who is an incredible drummer and educator,
Yes,
like
yeah.
just phenomenal. And Jason's on Thursday, and he sends me a note, and he's just like, "You put me after Keith Carlock and before Omar Hakim." Like, I thought we were friends. I was just like, I'm like, Jason, you're great. You're gonna be fine. I think to myself, oh, right. Like, well, someone has to go in between, has to go in between there. And then of course you invite me to do this. And of course you asked me to do this, and they're like, my hundredth show with Dave Weckel, and then Josh was gonna be on. And I was like, so I sent Jason a note. I said, I get it. I'm sorry. But
Oh,
that's our Thursday. I mean, our Thursday is Keith Carlock, Jason McGurr, Omar Hakim, and Dave Weckel.
oh my gosh. Wow. I know,
I
I'm
know,
and I'm rolling in. I think my flight gets in Thursday morning at like 9:30, so I'm hoping I can make a
right on over
beeline
to see
right
Keith. Yeah,
see Keith. Yeah, I
yeah,
texted him
yeah.
yesterday, and I guess as you I'm sure know, I said let's grab dinner, and he said I'm leaving right after. I can't hang. So,
Right after, yeah. So
yeah,
and then we have, and so that's in our room 500. Then we do have our a secondary room 105, which is more of like kind of more master classy type of drummers. And on Thursday, um, Dylan Wysine and Kevin Murphy are doing two. And Kevin's a holdover. Kevin actually couldn't come because of COVID protocols last year. And now he's going to be able to come this year. So we're
oh
really,
great.
so that's really fantastic. Um, Friday, another Allison Miller.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah, she's great. Tony Coleman,
yeah,
who's, I mean, it's fantastic. Donald Barrett, who probably seen on all the Lady Gaga stuff, and then Sput and Nate from Ghost Note. So Ghost Note is our closing concert on Saturday, and they're going to do a clinic on Friday night, and then Mike Miley is going to do, and Mike is with the band Rival Sons, who is actually a
yeah.
classmate of mine at Long Beach State. So Mike is coming in. And then Saturday, we got, once again, Henry Cole, Mike Johnson, Jonathan Barber, and Benny Greb.
Benny Greb. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Benny was another one who we've been talking for a while, that he's like, hey, 2020 and 2021. You're going to see a lot more international artists at PASIC 22, because although we were back in 2021 and we had all the protocols, it was hard for our international friends across all
Sure.
genres to come in, and we have a lot of international artists coming in this year, so we're really happy about that.
Yeah.
Benny,
Yeah.
obviously Benny being one of them to close out the drum set portion of things on Saturday.
Well, I finally got off my lazy behind the other day and went on to, logged in and looked at the schedule just to get a sense for what I'd be doing. And I'm like, wow, this is like one of the best shows I can remember, in a long time with all these amazing players. So well done.
Every year, thank you. We
Yeah,
try to really keep it diverse, not just in terms of whom, or but their style, right? Stylistically, we that's really important to us. And we have a fantastic drum set committee at PAS. Once again, all of our, talking about opportunities, committees are something that all members can apply to be part of, no matter what if you want to be part of one of the committees, you should apply to that, or a board of advisors. These are all opportunities for members, right? We are a member-based, volunteer-supported organization, so you should really consider that. But our drum set committee this year, who's led up by Mark Powers, which was great, and prior to that, for like ever, was Eric C. Hughes,
yes.
who helped me kind of change that, how we worked with industry and artists and reps, and I think we have a really great pipeline of people who are interested in this show. The industry supports it, the artist rep supports it, the committee support it. So that's why I think we always have a really good, solid drum set lineup that also incorporates, let's say we want to also make sure that we are supportive of seeing a lot of the great brands that support PAS up there, right? So you're going to have Gretsch and DW and Yamaha and Tama and Pearl. You're going to see Paiste and Sabian and Zildjian, and even on occasion, obviously what, Dream or Istanbul, whatever it may be. So we really try to, work with industry to make sure that, we see a nice grouping of people, because that's a great thing about PASIC, because that's not just like, it's not like a Zildjian Live or or a Sabian Education Network thing. Like it doesn't matter here. You can come and see every single person, regardless of brand, regardless of what they do, and that's really best for the consumer. That's really best for the educator to be able to see anyone,
Right.
no matter what they play in one spot.
Yep, exactly. I'm glad you mentioned Eric Hughes, an old friend, and I worked with Eric when I was still working in the business, and left-handed drummer too. I have to point that out.
Yes.
Lefty,
yes.
crazy.
Are you a lefty as well?
I'm left-handed drummer. Yeah, I have no choice
Eric
in the
and
matter.
Phil. You Eric and Phil. That's great.
In that order: me, then Eric, then Phil,
and then Phil Collins. Yeah, right.
and then Phil Collins. Yeah,
then Phil Collins.
If you want to go in order of who's the worst drummer, it's me, then Eric.
No.
But no, a great guy, and always did a great job. So I'm glad you have another able-bodied person running it now. So
100%. But the lineup we're very excited about. You can anyone who's watching, you can go to pasic.org, look at artists, look at the schedule, sort it by drum set or whatever you may be. I know we're talking a lot about drum set here. You have a lot of drum set people usually on this one, but if you come to PASIC, I would really encourage you to get out of your comfort zone once or twice. Go see something that you may not think you would like or are interested in. Drummers, whatever. If you play drum set, there's a chance that you really would love some of the world percussion stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Obviously evening concerts, or just be impressed just by what people can do on keyboard instruments or whatever it may be. So they're really get out there and see. I mean, you can walk into a drum set competition and see a principal percussionist of a major American symphony orchestra watching, and you can go into a timpani clinic and see a world-renowned drum set artist. I remember in 2020 when we did virtual, and with our virtual PASICs, you can have opportunity to kind of chat with people in the room. And I remember during one of the sessions, two people started having this conversation back and forth. And those two people were Evelyn Glennie and Marco Miniman.
Wow.
Then they're just like having this because Marco did a clinic and Evelyn was like, oh, that's so amazing how you did that. And we're just like watching these two people have this conversation. And I was just like, if that isn't PASIC.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's not PASIC to watch Dame Evelyn Glennie and Marco Miniman talk about musicality and what he was doing, I don't know what it is. And that's the special thing about what we do.
It makes perfect sense. I mean, they're both composers in their own right, and you could see that they share that, that compositional aspect. And, I was going to say, all the years that I attended, exactly what you said. I remember always being, I shouldn't say surprised, that's the wrong word for it, but I'd go in and I'd attend a clinic that wasn't a drums, I worked with drum set artists mostly, and I'd go in and sit in on a session because it was one of our artists maybe playing keyboard instrument or hand percussion or something. And you're never disappointed. There's always something that's interesting. If you're a percussionist, a drummer, you're always going to come away with something that's going to go, wow, man, that was really cool.
Yeah. And no matter what you play, you'll learn something from something else to take back to your instrument, whether it's, musicality or something they say. A great artist is a great artist. They're not great drummers or great music, percussionists. Sure they are, but they're great musicians. and each one of those musicians has something really wonderful to give back to the to the attendees who are there. So yeah, it's exciting. I'm getting very excited just talking about it. I have to kind of keep this very, all right, we got 2.5 more weeks and everything is whatever, but it is exciting. I do like to sneak into 1 or 2 things and sit in the back, and I unfortunately only get to see 1 or 2 minutes of lots of things, but it puts a big smile on my face to see other people in the crowded rooms and people talking in the hallways, and that's a really special thing. It makes our seeing what we do and the job that we're doing all worth it, and that's couldn't ask for anything better than that. So
That's great. That's great. Well, again, I'll say it, and I think I speak for everybody watching. Well done, and I can't wait to see it. And any closing thoughts or anything you want to mention before we wrap it up?
I'm gonna give my staff like 3 seconds to like text me on the side here. They're just like, make sure you say this.
Yes. Let's give them a minute. Let's give them a minute to.
Yeah, follow our social media if you would. So PAS, PAS, all of our socials. So Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you want to, it's hashtag PASIC 2022. Is the hashtag that we use. But follow us, tag us, be part of that conversation. We have a great team who likes to be involved. There's still time to get badges for PASIC. So you can buy your badge online through the end of this month. And then starting November 1st, we go offline so we can actually get everything together. And then there's an on-site price, which is much more expensive. So if you're going to get your badge, get it before the month of October is over.
Yep.
But all this information is on PASIC.org. So you can go there and find out, and then reach out to us via email. We will get back to you very, very fast. Because we're here for you. So just let us know what you need, and we're happy to help you get here and see everyone.
That's great. Great information. I need to get on that myself. Some great. Just trying to see if there's any questions I can throw at you really quick, Joshua. I don't think so. I think it's just a lot of love for you, man. That's what it is. It's just, sisters and friends and people just saying, great job.
My sister took a picture. My sister is in class teaching kids her history class. She sent me a picture. So if all those juniors in California are, non-musicians, they're your sister's cool. My sister's cool. Sorry, your sister's brother's even cooler. We have a good family. Yeah.
That's great. Are you from Southern California originally?
I am. Yeah, born and raised in Southern California. Right. So I'm a California guy through and through. Even though I haven't lived there in half my life now, but So
I might have passed you somewhere on the freeway back in the '80s, possibly.
Probably we parked, just sitting there
on the 405.
Yeah, right. 100%. Someone's gonna have to teach me how to turn off the sensor that automatically puts up like hand claps or something. If you didn't take anything else away from this before you go on a Zoom meeting, turn off all hand motion sensors for thumbs up and whatnot.
I've never seen that before, but I think it's pretty cool.
Right.
And I'm giving you a thumbs up.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But anything, just thank you. I would say just if you come to PASIC, come say hi. Introduce yourself. Say, tell us what you think. Find a staff members. We're going to wear our PAS shirts. We have giant staff. Walk up to a staff member. If you have something you need to share, let them know. If you just want to say thank you to them as well. We don't, obviously, like most organizations, we hear usually the negative, but we know there's so much more positive. And if you have a positive experience, if you're happy with what's happening, just let them know that it goes a real long way. And the team at PAS, the board, everyone does it because they love it, and we're all there to hopefully make your experience as positive as possible. So we hope we see you there. Come support these artists who are working to put together great sessions for you. Come support the industry. Who, listen, you can. I mean, you were in that hall for many, many years. I mean, it's a great place to try equipment, and then you get to buy it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so you can actually literally buy the equipment off the floor, which is something. So, hey, do I want this symbol? And
Exactly.
none of us go online and buy, whatever. You
Right.
got to feel it, you got to play it, you got to try it. You can come into the expo hall and try so much stuff, and then purchase something right there. So come and do that. Support the industry, support the artists, support PIS.
I'm glad you mentioned that too. Yeah, great opportunity for all those things. So, Joshua, thank you so
Yeah,
much, man. It's been a
yeah,
pleasure having you today. Thank you.
my pleasure as well.
Number 101.
101.
Take that, Dave Weckl. One better than Dave. So, all right. Well, I'll see you in 2 weeks,
That's
my
it.
friend.
You
Yeah.
will do that. All right. We'll talk soon. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Hang tight for
All right.
1 second. I'll end the stream and
Sure.
then we'll say goodbye. All right. Big hand
All
for
right.
Joshua Simonds, everybody. See you all at PASIC in 2 weeks in Indy, November 10 through 12, or technically 9 through
9
12,
through
but
12. Yeah.
9 through 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Sit tight if you would, Joshua. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.